why you must read East of Eden. Okay, maybe why you should consider reading East of Eden. So, at the beginning of the year, I had a problem with reading. I wanted to read The Three Musketeers, which is a very good novel by Alexander Dumas. And you can never go wrong with reading Alexander Dumas's novels. They're very intriguing, very nice, very adventurous. A very good way to start the year. But unfortunately, half of the month I spent it actually in a reading slump. I wasn't interested in reading Alexander Dumas. I then made the decision to start reading 3 books at a time, which was not wrong. But the problem I had was actually a problem with me. The story I was reading didn't captivate me. I was just from reading Sherlock Holmes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and I wanted something that would that would intrigue me, that would take me, that would help me. And the thing about stories, fiction, is that it's a story that captures you, that draws you closer as you read it. It's a bit different from self-help books or non-fiction, because fiction is a bit more better than non-fiction, which is very much bound for debate, because it's a story that you invest your time in, that gives you back a story that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. And I made the right choice when I bought this novel, East of Eden, which is by Penguins Classics. So, John Steinbeck is a very good writer. The person, on the other hand, was something else. But the author, John Steinbeck, was a good writer, a great writer, nevertheless. I think maybe the best book I've read since Crime and Punishment. And there's a reason why it's a modern classic, and there's a good reason why most people would even call it the greatest American novel, or maybe even the greatest novel, if possible, because it's a story about human nature. It's a story about good and evil, good versus evil. It's a story about jealousy and envy. It's a story about 2 families. And it's a story about human nature, and also maybe a story about also our lives, and also in the relation with God. There's one quote in the novel that I liked, when Lee and Samuel and Adam, one of the characters that you meet in this book when you get to read it, were talking about the story of Cain after he killed Abel. And they were discussing a part when God said Adam, or Cain rather, would, if possible, had the choice to overcome sin. But what we get on that thing, it was a word called Timshel, if I remember, which was he could have power over sin. And that was a very important fact, because as we look at it, even the whole novel itself is a very deeply, close to philosophic book, contemplative book, because it teaches you a lot of things. And maybe one thing that stood out is, are you going to be like the people who were before you? Do you have a choice to be like them, or are you just given what they had exactly and you act on that? So what we have to understand is that we are not the result of the people before us. We are not our own mistakes. We are not the mistakes. We are not going to carry the mistakes of the people before us. We are going to be what we are going to be, who we choose to be. And who we choose to be is up to our choices. I remember when Adam's son, which I won't go and spoil in the book, but I remember when Adam's son met his mother, who is a very bad person, by the way. And Adam's son said to his mother that he's like her. He's not like her, but he has what she has, but in his own way. And he is not going to choose to be like her. And yes, we can carry a lot of things that our parents had. Like, most people had parents who are alcoholics. Most people had parents who were humanizers, who were drug addicts, who were into bad things. But does that determine who we choose to be now? And there's a good reason why you should read this novel, because it's deeply contemplative. It's a good story, and you won't stop reading it. But it's a very good investment, because the way fiction works is that it teaches you through hooking you and carrying you deeply into a story, and you will not go wrong with reading East of Eden. This is a 10 out of 10 book. It kept me interested. Although, when you continue reading it, you come to understand the themes of that we truly have power over who we choose to be, but unfortunately, we don't actually we don't actually know too much of that. We have power to become better people, but we don't we don't truly know that we have that power until we are taught that we do have that power. And what John Steinbeck is telling us is that we don't have to be ruled by our impulses. We don't have to. We are not a result of our mistakes. Like Adam, or like Adam's son, Cow, learns eventually. I've spoiled the book. Like Adam's son learns eventually that his mother was a bad person, but he is not a bad person, and he can choose to be different from his mother. But I hope that you find this book very interesting. Although there's more to talk about it, but this was just maybe a quick glance into why you should read East of Eden. And by the way, the writing is very beautiful in this novel. It's a very beautiful novel, and also the characters are very beautiful as well. Thank you so much.